How's that? All right. And I want to say a special hello to the folks in the cavern. Hopefully, our friends are joining us. The folks I'm going to introduce you to are the ones who have been creating some exciting new ages in Uru. And I think you're going to find some nice surprises in store. So, with that, I'm going to start introductions. Harley.
Hi, I'm Harley. You probably know me as Callum Traveler, Dimension Traveler, a whole bunch of other names. You know me.
There's some other names we call, but you know.
Yeah, I'm Yaley, sometimes Yaley of Daggers or Yaley of Dyson from way back when. Oh, I also go by Ribbon Dude on Twitter.
You guys got a mic, so go ahead. Age Explorer.
Age Explorer. I go by Multiverse Explorer on Discord. You can call me Brad.
And my name is Patrick Dulabon, also known as Dubes. You may have seen me last year demonstrating Blender for Coromon.
Shara, Retelok Saltanti Tinian Shemti Montreal, Ken Darrell ga Fusage Paradox Pandipog ga Ken Ksi Brish Kantamet. And for everyone who's not Klamas, hello. On behalf of the Guild of Writers, welcome to Montreal. I'm Daryl. You might know me as Paradox or Dpogue. My pronouns are he, him. And I'm one of the developers for the open source Uru.
And finally, SimJ.
Hello, I'm SemJ. I have created a few ages on Deep Island, and I have one in the game already.
All right. Let's give him a hand. All right, first up, we're going to have Harley, and she has some things. They have some things to say.
Hello. Uru. Those of you who know, well, the cavern know that Cyan had this grand idea to do live story over the course of the lifetime of the game. Now, for various reasons, you know how that all turned out. We've been trying to do the same thing. A loose group of us have been off and on doing events and story plots and trying to tie them into the content that we're building into the game. Some endeavors have been more successful than others. One of the successes, I think, is this one event that some of you may remember where an Explorers Relto book washed up on the Agira docks, and it was all mangled and ruined. Ignore my phone. Another interesting event that we tried was a slow burn sort of impersonal storyline with an amnesiac explorer named Benevud. He was somebody who was found in the cavern, having bumped his head and lost his memories, and uncovering who he was quite a story and a bit of an emotional journey that was pretty successful, I think. We also did a crossover of sorts with the unwritten storylines and all that. If you are familiar with the Children of the New Seed, we had a splinter faction of them called the Children of the True Seed. Their story arc did not go over quite as well as we hoped, and admittedly we made quite a few mistakes on the pacing front of it, burning through it way quicker than we should have. Though that event did culminate in a really, really fantastic event where the ringleader of their group was arguing with several of his cohorts, rather ex-cohorts now, on the cliffs of Eder Nay. And he fell and had a little accident. Don't worry, he survived, though I can't say the same for the Children of the True Seed. They kind of shattered on impact. Pardon the pun. These have all, given us lots of experience points figuring out things that have worked, things that haven't worked. So one of the things that we're currently trying to do is something of a long-form story arc over the course of a few years that I'm calling the diplomacy arc. So you know the thing with inhabited ages is you might never know when you find one, especially when you're restoring other ages in Denis. Say, for example, you're exploring the backside of a garden age, and suddenly you find a link to a mysterious place that you aren't quite sure where it is, but it looks like there were ruins there, or maybe some sense of civilization. You're not quite sure that you want to go there without proper protection and planning first. So, obviously you want to have a maintainer suit. You obviously want to have a diplomacy guard ready to go. And then imagine what happens when a foolhardy explorer does something that they should not have done and gotten their mind linked up with some harmonic sound waves of another dimension, and they go into the age without a maintainer suit in the complete stance of a, sleepwalking sort of... I'm not going to beat the allegations, but, it's some people have likened it to a metaphor of being on crystal drugs, so I'm just going to embrace that right there. Anyways, so a whole contingent of explorers then went into the age to try and recover the explorer. Turns out the age, yes, is inhabited. Yes, they are very well of Denis history up to a certain point, considering one of the caretakers of the age was a young girl at the time of the fall. Her family took care of the age. They had an island out in the lake. And come the fall, she was the only survivor. And so eventually she'd go back to the age. And so the people of this age now know that Denis is basically dead. And anybody coming from there are new people. So... yeah, diplomacy. We've done a couple of Discord-based unwritten sessions over text channels. I have a whole...
I'll take it from here. A dashing young man. His name's Dr. Robert Murray, among other people, so...
Yes. Well, Robert and Callum and Kelsey and quite a few other people, such as Sky is Blue, happened to go on one of these adventures to race this age, and they... we went to this age, we had this grand first negotiation session between several religious and political leaders of the age, and between the explorers, and then they came to a first sort of initial footstep forward. We gave them some wildlife stock from our age, Earth, to see how it took to their age, because due to circumstances that will be unveiled over the course of the story, this age is kind of on a downward decline in terms of its environment. So any little thing we can do to help them out, we can give them. And in exchange, they are sending here and there a few people to visit Denis in the cavern to get a sense of what we're doing things. One of those characters is a young woman named Eder Nay. We may have met her in the cavern from time to time. But yeah, another thing that we will be showing a bit later is they are opening a converted temple into a sort of an apartment for explorers to come visit, or rather, to sort of further this exchange of cultural ambassadorship. And, I think that's about it for me for the moment.
Okay. So you can listen, or rather read one of the stories, The Adventures of the Ambassadors and Their First Encounter, somewheres in... Should we give them spoilers? Let them find it? Yeah, somewhere's in Neighbory. So you'll have to explore Explorers and find it. But it's a new story we have out there. If you haven't read it already, please do. And there may be more to come. Actually, there is more to come in the near future. All right, moving right along. I'm going to turn this over to Yeli, right? Or no, we're going over here. Sorry. Doobs, you're going to talk about Tweaks stuff, right?
Yep. As those of you who know our friend Tweak, aka Keith Lord, he has sent along some lovely, lovely screenshots of some of the work that he is working on. This first one is called Cass. This is something that, much like all of his ages, he's been working on for years. And as you can see, this one, as he calls it, says, it is once a place to learn the art, now a museum and library designated to Denis and its restoration. And yeah, you can kind of get some signs from there. Of course, it's got his usual style. All right, and this one, yeah, this one's kind of pretty. It's Eder Nay. I really hope I'm saying these right. If not, I hope Keith will correct me later. The Fifth Age, written by Tweak, carefully crafted to represent a familiar age. It was written to celebrate the 25th anniversary of Myst. Obviously. Ugh. Oop, I got some. Background lights are probably messing it up. Oh, yeah, no problem. All right. But yes. Still got a little glare from it's probably the back there.
That back window, yeah.
Yeah, that back window. If anybody can kind of shade that, that'd be good. Okay, well,
Thank you, Ace.
a little bit better. Okay.
And
Let's
we
cycle
have,
back through it so we can really show them now. All right.
Ooh,
Again, that's Cass.
ah.
Again, that's museum, library designated to Denis and its restoration. Yes. Eder Nay. Yep. Again, you can see some shades of another rather famous age in there. So, yeah. This is another section of Fahetz. It's unnamed in the notes here, but it says, and if you don't know Fahetz, the first section of it called High Garden has been released. It is on Moolah right now. He plans to open up a few more sections of this particular age. So, and this is another one. He describes Fahetz as a gloomy, forested age, and the first age written by Tweak. It bears the scars of his inexperience with the art. So he's nothing if not humble. But yeah. Now this is the Tehran neighborhood. Discovered in 2003, the neighborhood served as a base of operations for the Third Path, and later the Restorers Guild after the DRC abandoned the cavern. So clearly this is another hood. And looks like it's going to be a lot more elaborate than the ones we've seen before. So, yeah. Book room too. All right. And then I'm going to pass it on to Yaley so that they can talk about their stuff.
Yeah, so this is some work I've started doing. Oh, can you hear me? Okay, good. Some work I started doing about two and a half years ago. I wanted to build a new area of Dunny, and I thought, well, I'd love to see more of the private houses because I'm really interested in Kavir and the whole story behind Kavir, and I thought, well, I'd like to have an island that explores some of the Writers Guild members and some other famous writers who were involved in some secret society kind of stuff. So I started making this in 3ds Max. I did some initial concepts, then started making this. I used some assets and that I purchased, and I did some art, and I built a lot of it over the last 2 years. And then before I move on, yeah, so I wrote some journals that are in this, which you can read. It's it's just a spoiler, by the way, and it delves into a bit of the a story called the Iron Book Story, which is about a cult of Dunny that was essentially building or infiltrating certain ages and certain guilds to push forward a new order in Dunny. And once you explore the age or the island in the future, you will read the journal, and it goes into some other projects I was working on. It relates to a project I was working on called Darka, which is a game I was making in Unreal 5, and it kind of ties into that a bit. But moving on a bit, this is something I'm still working on, so it might be a while before it releases. I'm going to jump into the UI overhaul project I was working on last year and the year before with Hazado. This is some of the this is kind of an early representation of the character gen screen. And so we have some things like I want to really go for like more of a rustic look to kind of echo some of that early 2003 kind of Uru website, to make it a bit more spiffy, a bit more modern, but still have that old school kind of vibe. So that's next slide. We'll see some. This is some of the background character loading, character selection menus. This is actually a funny one because this is the idea that Hazard and I had was you could actually customize your UI for Uru depending what style you want, what theme you want. So we'd have, I know Tweak was working on some UI stuff, I was working on some, and we had different ideas, and we're like, what if we could have it so users could basically choose the themes and pictures they want. For this specific picture, this is the background you'd see, they would essentially rotate when you log in. And this is one that I thought would be good for like a Halloween only thing with the orange, library. That's just the character menu. Keep going. So another image just to the left, just some various varieties. The ferry terminal. Keep going. And this is some loading screen ideas I had. Still not sure in some of this, but I thought, how about we modernize the loading screens? That's one of the ideas. I know there's a few other. Is there another one? Yeah, that's one going back to like the old Uru book from the original website. I think there's a few others. Yeah, that little logo at the bottom, the Nexus symbol would spin. That's kind of a concept we thought of. We should also have a few other pictures of the. Is there one of the not the loading screens, but the let me just check the character. There's the character gen, the loading screen. Yeah, here we go. So I guess that's all, right? Is that all? Okay. Yeah. So that's basically all I've been working on over the last few years. I guess I'll pass this on to.
I'll take it.
Oh, here we go. Yeah.
Go ahead.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
All right. How many of you have visited Neighbory? Yeah, good. All right. Well, I'm going to introduce you to the creator of that place, who has some additional ages coming your way. Harley again.
Hello again. So, remember what I said about an apartment? I don't know if you can hear any audio playing. Yeah. They might not. If you're hearing music right now, that is a background track composed by Semjay. She did some fantastic work. I don't think we're hearing it out here, which is fine. But if you're enjoying it on the stream, you're enjoying it, and just take a moment to listen to that. Yeah, that's good music. Of course, if you're hearing silence, I just let you listen to total silence for no reason. Anyway, so yeah, this is Eder Nay. Oh, there we go. Now we can hear a little bit of it. So this is the age that was found in Eder Nay that I was telling you about, the inhabited age, and this is the converted temple. So if you look around, you'll see that there's a big giant rug on the floor with some symbols that may be familiar, some banners on the walls that may seem familiar. Oh yeah. Look at that. Oh yeah. And then over there, where you see those doors, if you walk over there, yeah. Oh, we're not going to spoil too much, but if you, whoop, yeah, that's the destiny bug of it. Yeah. Anyways, here is this is the apartment part of it. This is the little room here that you have a little desk, and there's a bed. Yes, a proper bed. There'll be a collectible clothing eventually. Yeah. And the bed also has some seating points on it, but we don't have to show those. But yeah, over here on the desk, there's a couple of clickable readables, though you have to come at it from the other side because the hotspot only triggers when you're sitting. And I'm still trying to get that working in a way that's not kludged together. But yeah. So here, if you open that book, this is a book that Runa May has been working on. You know, as you can see, it contains a variety of of stories and texts in it. We don't have to spend too much time reading it. But next to it, in the green tome, is the Reishu to English language translation notes, which I know some people will be very, very happy to dig into. If you can open it, it's still a work in progress. I'm still working on things. You'll notice with the numbering, though, that it's very similar to Denis. That's intentional. The age has a lot of Denis influence in its history due to everything that's happened. Can close out of the book. And then finally there on the desk there is a map of the age. I have not gotten it to be a GUI yet. That's on my to-do list. But when you click on the map, you'll be able to bring it up and you'll be able to look and see a map of the age. And yeah, we can now head towards the exit. So yeah, you're going to have to click on the door handle again. It should work now. And new sound effects. If you go to the door, you'll see the very awesome bit of it. Woohoo! And now, as we step outside, indeed, Reishu. This is the age of Reishu. This is the small little Relto-like island that it's off in the sea, and it's still work in progress in some areas, but you can see that there's glowing crystals everywhere. And what's more, if you switch to first person and look up at the sky, yeah. Now, I think it's probably... Oh, yeah, there we go. This is the sky that you will see. Those are Reishu's 2 moons. And over the course of the day, they will, course around in a cycle. And what's more, if you look down the cliff at the water... Let's go over the cliff here. Yeah, you'll see there's some real-time water reflections there that as you cycle through the day-night cycle, the water rises and lowers. Yeah, that was work made possible due to some work in the Cormon with 14 or 15 or 16, one of those that made it so that your water wind reference also serves as a height reference. So if you animate it, it now goes up and down, and it takes the whole thing with it, which is yeah, pretty cool. This age is intended to serve as sort of an extension of Relto as a sort. So there will be future collectibles that will give items that I will not spoil on stream, but there will be collectibles that will add to the age. And what's more is, obviously, as a Relto-like thing, there will be some journey elements, some journey aspects to it, which, again, I will not be spoiling anything. But let's just say there will be something you can find that will, yeah. And for the moment, I will just... No, not going to tell you. I'm just gonna leave you guys on this view as we transition to the next thing.
Thank you. Ooh, ah, right? All right. All right, our next person to present is our wonderful Simche.
I quite like tinkering with things from the Intangibles collection, and this is Venalum, or Venalum. It's supposed to be an age connected with the manufacture of ink, but by the time you arrive, everything will be broken, it won't work, nothing's doing. And this is very much a work in progress. I've got about another year's worth to do. Everything you see will probably change, but I thought you might like to have a look and a run around and see what I've done so far. Now, the structures in the water are, there's a harvester and a little tugboat as well. And we think that the tug would go down in the water and snip off these bulbs that grow under the water, which are then captured by the harvesters. And apparently beetles would be squirted into the bulbs and they would eat the contents. And they would extract the beetles, put them in the mashing machine, and turn them into ink, I think. I'd really like a vegan alternative to that, though.
Can you smoke it in Gen's pipe?
Now, these industrial buildings were made for me by Melvin. He gave me access to his asset collection. So thank you very much, Melvin. You'll see all of these buildings in his ages in Deep Island, but they look completely different because he's put different materials on. So I've gone for industrial metal, and his are carved in stone. So have a look out for those. That doesn't work yet. The wheel. Don't know what it's going to do either. And coming up, this pink and green switch isn't going to be there, but it does work, and it's got quite a nice effect on it. And the bouncy sparks. And this is the power for the Age. It's a solar panel contraption.
Is this the emoji age, or? Okay.
More technical difficulties, but it's our fault.
So while they're sorting out the technical difficulties, I just thought I'd like to say that working on this project, working on Uru, has one of those lifelong dreams. You know, it also gives me a whole brand new and respect for what Cyan was trying to do with Uru. It's a lot of work to do the story events. It's a lot of work to design ages that go with it. It's a lot of work. It's a lot to do on essentially volunteer effort, and even then, knowing that this is what Cyan was having to do, even with a massive budget when they were originally trying it out. It's a lot. It is a whole lot, and it is at both times super stressful and super rewarding. And I know we'll probably do a drop at the end, but if you have any inclination of wanting to come along this journey, we have, volunteer stuff that if through the Open Uru dev group and other means. If you're not technically inclined, there's also the CavCom, cavern condition meter that Cyan has for donations. And, if the link works, I will just pass it out. Over.
Thank you, Harley. All right, I think we're back, right?
Yep, we're back up.
Now, this is a definite spoiler, right, of things to come.
Right,
I'm
so-
putting up my fancy sign.
Yes, big spoilers. Okay, this is almost ready to be released into the game. We're just waiting for the tester's final say-so, and it's the Explorers Emporium, owned by Ella Darrington, who has decided to start selling souvenirs for you to buy on your visits to Uru. So there's an awful lot of interesting things in the store. Some of them have been made and donated by other fans of the game, so thank you to those people. An interesting side quest would be how many ages can you see represented here. Some patterns may be familiar. You can click on various products and see what they look like. You can try on the t-shirts, but they're not available in your size, I'm afraid. And then in the cabinets, there are a few interesting items which I put in deliberately to say thank you to some people who've been really kind and helpful to me. So if you see something in a cabinet that resonates with you, I've put it there for you. Thank you. Anyway, you might have noticed that all is not quite well in the Emporium. There are a few things that are starting to look a bit strange. You see, private, no entry, you wouldn't go in there, would you? No. Oh. And someone's obviously rushed up the stairs and knocked over the lamp. Why is that? There are an awful lot of clickables that you can click on. What you need to do is click on these notebook pages and letters and find out exactly what Ella's been up to and find out what's happened to her and decide whether you're on her side or whether you want to stop her.
Oh no, you're trapped.
These doors have been so hard to get working.
They are a pain.
And this is the bathroom. There's been a bit of a problem with the plumbing. All breakages must be paid for.
I think we're going to have to put a pillow or a mattress there, aren't we?
All right, do you want to head down the stairs? You really shouldn't go down here. I'm really sorry, but don't.
Release the Sunners.
So Ella's been making her own t-shirts to sell in the store. Well, anyway, there's 4 different ones from which to choose, so have a look and see what you can find.
That looks familiar.
That's the unofficial one. Okay, so she's been wandering along in the city and she's picked up some linking books. Some of them are official and you can link through them. You need to make your way to the book room and open it with the pink door button. she's quite a good artist, and she's been creating lots of artwork to sell in the store as well, marking it with the official guild stamp.
Gets more complicated.
Do you want to leave it for there? Yeah. And we'll leave the rest for you to explore.
There's
Find
much
out what
more
she's
to it.
done and where has she gone.
All right. Next, we have Doobs and. Well done. We have Doobs and Age Explorer.
Yes. Thank you, everybody. Yeah, I got a couple things I get to show you. One, you probably know well, actually, you both probably know both very well if you play Myst Online or any Myst, well, one of the Myst games, Myst 5 or Myst Online. The first one, you want to... See it in that small text? All right. So the first one I think you'll know very, very well. But I made a couple of modifications given the recent events. So, yes. So, yeah.
Oh, we just gave something away, didn't we?
Yeah. So a little bit. Well, I think we all know the ending of Ribbon. So, but we're basically, yeah. Again, spoilers. Well, minor one, but basically it's just a little something I added to codify the new remake. If you've seen the screenshots of when you first get there, you've probably seen this little object here. So, well, it had to land somewhere, and turns out it was just under this pool. So go figure. So, we're going to do a little bit of a walk around here to show you that the path is pretty much getting there. I haven't had much time to work on this as of late, but I did actually get it to the point where where you could basically start at the top and get all the way down to the end of this phase. And I just only recently got the shaft floor working again, so. But, yeah, just wanted to show this new part. This is some of Harley's work. The modeling is. The texturing is mine, so if it's not all that great, then pin that on me, not Harley. I did switch out the texture so it looks a little better. Still needs some work, though, obviously. But this was added because if you've noticed Myst 5 and if you are any spatially aware, there is no way in heck that you could go down into that tunnel and not notice it peeking out of or actually the Great Shaft and actually see it not peeking out of the desert. So we added this section, again, thanks to Harley, to make a bit more of a descent. Oh. That's okay, I got it. I think there was a stand, but that's okay. I can hold it. Look like a mouse drive. Anyway, so yes, this was added so that we can make a little bit more logical descent as far as from the caldera to the Great Shaft itself. So, again, still needs a bit of work, but as you can see, it's coming along. And again, I'm really glad I changed that other texture. Just was not working all that great. Yeah, I agree. That's true.
Yeah,
I still need
nice
to touch it
have
up, though.
lamps so you can see where you're going.
All right,
now.
so as you can see, so far so good. Yeah, we're basically making our way down. We'll soon be getting back into familiar territory here. Oh, if this ladder climbing were just a little bit faster. There we go. I probably should have done that too, yeah. But no, the ladders work, or you can jump down too if you want. Just, again, do so at your own risk. But yeah, you probably recognize this part from Myst 5. A lot of this is based off of Myst 5 because it's just easier to import that particular file than a max file. So let's see. But yes, I have fiddled a lot with the lighting as far as making it a bit more moody and a little less full bright. But again, for the moment, you can kind of see that it's pretty much the same, just a little bit more, atmospheric, I guess you could say. So I guess this door is already open. I guess that's the one thing that I did save. Okay, cool. But yeah, so far, if you played Myst 5, then you can probably recognize where we're going. But of course, it's been revamped and remade to work in Uru like it was intended.
The Great Shaft.
Yes, because literally everything that the Denis had was just great. Now, much like a regular elevator, this thing is going to take a little while to get up here because it's if you haven't noticed, it's a very tall shaft. So it takes, it's basically like waiting for your elevator here. You just stand there for a good minute or two, and then you wonder, where is this damn thing? And then all of a sudden, there it is, which it will at some point here.
If I may just say, you can walk down it.
Yes, that's true.
It is like 2 hours running down there. I've done it multiple times.
Yes, that is the thing. If you are willing and able, you can run down the entirety of this thing, top to bottom, bottom to top, if you want. Otherwise, again, there's going to be the option of using the elevator for those who just don't want to hoof it all the way down there. So, if only Uru did achievements, I think that should be absolutely be one of them. All right, here we go.
Should be our reward, yes.
It would be nice. Exactly. That would be nice. Yeah.
Can you
Eventually we
parachute?
might. Yeah. That's something we'll have to look into. But yeah.
Can
Yeah,
you
we gotta do something.
parachute down?
No,
Base
actual
jumpers?
skydiving would be really cool too. But unfortunately, if you free fall in Uru for 6 seconds, it automatically links you out. So unfortunately, there's got to be a way to figure that out. So here is the redone descent in the elevator. If for those on the stream, they're probably hearing the original tune that played during the demo, and it's playing right now to cinematic camera angles here like this. It isn't just this. You'll see it. Some of you saw this earlier. You know what I'm talking about. But yeah, basically trying to set it up as kind of a combo between what you saw in Myst 5, what you saw in Uru, and also what you saw in the demo. And this is kind of the way that's going. So, again, with the cinematic camera and all that stuff, plus the music too. Now, there is also a different but similar track when you go up that elevator that Morris produced. But just in the interest of time, we're not going to do that. Okay. So, yes. But it is synced to the song. That's why it takes a little bit longer for the elevator to go up and down. So, whoa. Oh, I am flirting with disaster here. But yes, it's not on there right now, but I know it's also blocked too. Basically, when this is first introduced, it's going to be blocked off, just as a tease. But eventually, like a few days later, it'll be opened up because we'll say, hey, it's finally finished. So you guys can just be very careful coming down there. But as you can see, it's pretty much traversable, the whole thing so far. Yeah, this one, not as much of a cinematic camera angle, but it still gives you an idea of, hopefully, the scope of this place. But again, this was mostly just taking what Cyan already had and then rewiring it for Uru, since it originally was supposed to go into Uru, but obviously we know what happened there. Well, those of you, the longtime fans, know what happened there. Our friends at Ubisoft and whatnot. So, okay, we're just going to just bypass this whole thing because A, it's just fun to drop down and not have your legs just crash up into your body, and also just for expediency here. Okay, where am I? So down here you can see the lighting is a little different. Again, a little bit more common sense, just to give it a little bit more atmosphere and a little less full bright. And as such, I've added a bit of common sense lighting just to help it out a little bit, but it's still obviously probably noticeably darker than it was. So, but again, that was mostly just in the interest of just making it a little more common sense. All right, let's see if I can do this. All right, now the puzzle. Again, spoilers. If you haven't played Myst 5, but again, if you have, then you'll notice that this is
Don't look.
Yes, but if you have played Myst 5, this is going to basically work pretty much the same. I had to obviously adjust the size of this thing because it was too big, but it still operates the same, but the avatar is able to interact with it. And now I got to run for the other one. Obviously, this will be much, much easier in multiplayer, so.
I was about to say, can two players...
Oh, yes. Oh, yes, yes.
I love that.
But even if you don't have anybody with you, and you can still solve it on your own, and that's exactly what I want to do with the rest of Descent is make it so that it's solvable with friends or just by yourself if you want to. If you don't want to bother with anybody. Alone or together, exactly. Yeah.
And obviously, we're not going to get rid of the hood instance of Descent. So when this goes live, it would also, not only would you have the potential private instance, you also have a hood instance and So
Come on, you can do it. There you go.
players can definitely do this together or alone.
Oh, God. Everybody was probably wondering, why is the sound off? That would be because it was not on in the first place. There we go. Just make sure it's not too loud. Apologies to anybody on the stream that was not having sound. That's because I had it muted. It wasn't anything due to our friends on the committee.
So you don't need your room key to activate this, right?
Nope. Although that would be funny if that were true. Yes, you're going to need your key in order to run this. Unfortunately, not yet. Again, that's because Cormon doesn't do bone animations just yet, so that's something I'll have to work on at some point. Also, the floor does not descend from this button, so I have to basically leave the floor here. But still, yeah, I'm just going to probably... Oh, that's right. I forgot there was a ladder here. Oh. Now, again, you can take the ladder or you can just jump in there. It's either or will work. But actually, yeah, just again, in the interest of time, let's just skip ahead a little bit. Yeah. It's not easy typing one-handed. Let's see. Nope, wrong one. Yeah. All right, then. Sorry about that. Okay. Turn that off again. All right, so we've just essentially bypassed the Great Shaft, so I can show you the new stuff, or the new area. You probably, if you saw the trailer, you probably know where we're going, but at the same time. Then you'll also see where I got the camera angle for that, too. For that very slow, sweeping view of it. It's still there. I haven't turned it off quite yet. But you'll see why I didn't do the very beginning of it, because it goes through the mesh here. There we go. Now, this is essentially where Phase 1 is going to end, and then that'll give us some time to develop Phase 2. So, which, again, luckily most of this has been built already, so it's mostly just a matter of fixing up some stuff and adding some stuff. But this particular phase is pretty much done. Again, I have to touch up a lot of stuff, but, you know, as you can see, it's much like that status of Riven last year, is that it's traversable, it's solvable, but at the same time, it needs a lot of polish. So, all right. So that is Descent, and that is still coming. I know it's been a bit of a delay, but that is still coming. It's just mostly just, real life intruding again. Yes, soon. The trademark paramedic.
Trademark pending.
Right. So we're not quite done. Oh. All right. So we're not quite done yet. I do have a couple of little surprises for you, and they involve Chiso Prive, and also, yeah.
I should mention that in storyline, Dr. Robert Murray has been doing some geological surveys down here and getting lost constantly, but just to make sure everything's stable, so that when you go down there, you won't have anything crash on you.
All right. Okay, so I know you've already all seen Chiso before. Those of you that have played Myst Online before have seen Chiso, but I'm happy to announce, especially with my buddy Brad here, that we are actually doing a very large expansion to it, both in content and story. And he is he's been here because he is actually one of our unofficial official sound designers as of late. He's also been helping me develop the story behind this new expansion. But basically, get downstairs.
The office.
Yeah. There is one other thing we'll show you, but I'll save that for last because Murray wants to build that up nicely. But yes, this is... unfortunately, you guys won't be able to hear it, but these two sounds on this door are courtesy of my friend Brad here, Age Explorer. As I said, he's been working very hard to do some of the sound work on this expansion that we're going to be doing. Brad, did you want to talk a little bit about?
Yeah, so our plan is to sort of expand the library through the back. I was sort of, when I approached you, it was about expanding the library. I was kind of inspired by, there was a picture of a church I saw in Arizona that was kind of settled in on the rock. And I thought it would be very interesting for the Dunny to actually tunnel up through that rock. So we would actually be going through a path that would take us to a completely different part of the age, and Dubes and I are sort of still polishing off some of the various aspects of this storyline. We've got a lot of machines that we need to develop sounds for, and then we have a couple projects within projects that need to be completed before we release that. But still in the very early stages, and we're hoping that this will be a great expansion for Chiso, both in terms of story and going beyond Chiso.
Will we be able to climb that ladder eventually?
I mean,
bugging me.
if you want to, I mean, you might fall off it, this thing. Yeah. All right. So, but yeah, Brad here has already done a bit of work for SMJ over there. In fact, Calamy, some of the waterfall sounds, and also some of the work for Explorers Emporium, which you saw. So yeah, we're basically putting him out there. So, anybody who is interested in age building and wants some very quality sound design work, this is your man right here. So this is, your official debut as far as our team. All right. So now I will let Murray tee up this next one because it was his idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
All right. So you may notice there was an extra desk as I ran over here. So let me
yeah.
switch to first person so we can see it better.
Are you expanding my desk?
Nope.
Oh,
well,
really?
not your desk in particular.
What does that say?
Yeah. What does that say? Oh, it says
Sky is blue?
It would appear.
You're moving in?
Yes, it would.
Oh.
Yeah, it would appear Sky has gotten her own desk.
Seriously, Sky.
Yeah, Sky has done a lot of great work for us as far as the restoration. So she now officially has her own desk to fill with whatever the heck she wants. All right. Ooh,
Several weeks ago, I just happened to catch her late at night wandering around the desk and moping and stuff, and she indicated she would love to have a desk. So Dubes and I talked it over. Sky is one of our best testers for these ages.
Sitting mod doesn't work.
And she also has a cooking stream. She sings beautifully at karaoke on Saturdays. You ought to hear that. She translates the French for us for
One of our big French
podium.
translators, yeah.
And on and on and on. I mean, she just has been very helpful to people that come in. So we thought, why not? We ought to give her a desk. So
Absolutely.
Sky, your goal now is to decorate that desk.
Yes, you're now
So you
officially
get-
part of the game. Oh, all kinds.
Oh, go for it.
I mean, have you looked at some of these other desks? They are. Yes.
Yeah, go look at Callum's.
Yeah, look at this. Callum's desk is absolute chaos. Well, organized chaos, but certainly chaos. Oh, that's right. Yeah, look at that.
The only problem I have with
Well,
Dubes is
unless
I've
I
been
get
trying to
something.
get him to get a new hat. You know, it's a fedora. You know,
Yes.
come on.
Okay.
So anyway, but yeah, Sky, congratulations and welcome to the club.
Okay. So we got one more little surprise for you, and I'm going to turn that over to Depogue over here to tell you about it.
So we don't have age building content, but I have code building content. So I have my handy folder of notes here. So if you open that folder, I wanted to start by giving an update on some of the stuff that we've been doing with the open source Uru engine over the past year. We have a beautiful new icon courtesy of Morris. And I should mention that this is on the Huru branch of the Plasma engine, and we're hoping that some of these changes will eventually make their way onto the Mula server. Hoikis did... Oh, get back down there. Hoikis made a bunch of updates to the options menu, including some fixes to edge case where you could end up with corrupt keyboard bindings if you tried to bind and unbind the same key in a certain order. So that should all be fixed now. We've had a lot of fixes from several people in the security, stability, and performance improvements arena, including some fixes for some weird Windows DPI issues. And then if anyone knows D. Gillessis on the OpenEru Discord, he's been making a bunch of cleanups and simplifications and that sort of thing. And the big note is that we sort of have nightly, they're not really nightly, they're whenever a code change is merged, we have automatic builds of the Huru client. And that includes all the related tools, such as the 3ds Max plugin. And we have that available for download. That supports 3ds Max versions 7 through 2024. So if you have any version of Max released in the past 20 years, you should be able to download a version of the plugin that works and do the sorts of fancy things that SemJ does building ages. You can access that through the UR code there, and I'll also post a link in Discord in our Q&A section afterwards. The other thing that we've talked about for a few years is progress on the Mac front. Next one. In the past, we've showcased a little bit of stuff on Mac, but that code was sort of happening off on its own, making sure that it worked without it being part of the core Huru engine. All of that has been merged now. So both the Metal rendering backend and the macOS client were all merged. We have, again, a new Mac application icon courtesy of Morris. Because all this code is merged, you can now build your own Mac client for local testing. You just have to download the Huru codebase, run it on Mac, and it should all work. You don't have to pull in special branches or anything like that. There is still a lot of remaining work to do. Some of that work is non-technical, such as figuring out Apple developer accounts and code signing and fun things that involve like having a company or a registered nonprofit and how do you manage who has access to stuff. But there are still other technical things that we're in the process of finishing up. Things like how do you do patching on Macs because Mac apps are set up differently than Windows apps. How do you handle display resolutions and stuff like that? Bit of a spoiler, the first half of this presentation, you saw the in-game stuff when we were exploring Raishu and Venelem. That was running on the Mac client. And the other thing that I wanted to talk about was the Corman Blender plugin. It's the next card there. So Corman version 0.16 is available. The big announcement is that it has support for simple GUI dialogues. This folder was thrown together late Monday evening using the latest Corman version. There's some new built-in template modifiers to do things like telescopes and SDL-based show and hides. You don't have to set up complex node trees on your own anymore. And then there's lots of bug fixes around detector regions, some 3D sound issues, all sorts of crashes happening anywhere from crashing Blender to crashing Corman to crashing Uru. Basically, if there's something in that whole process that could crash, we've probably fixed some of that. In addition to the GUI stuff, there was some stuff for making complex animations and then splitting them up into different named sections that you can trigger different animations separately. And much better support for adding new things to existing ages without corrupting all the existing H files. So that opens the door a little bit to things like adding new Relto pages without needing to pull all of Relto into Blender and losing stuff in the process. Or in the case of this, adding a new global GUI without needing to touch the whole complicated key system. You can find all of this on the Huru GitHub, which you click there, github.com/h-uru. And not just the Plasma work and the Corman work, but also Plasma Shop, libhs Plasma, all of the various tools that we have built over the past 20-something years. And I did just want to shout out Hoikis last night made a new tool called Get Uru that he posted about in the Open Uru Discord that will let you download the latest Uru build and all the content and automatically set up a testing client for the Destiny shard. So if you're interested in getting started with age building and testing your ages or checking out just what's new in the Huru client, that's a good way to get started.
Very
That's
nice.
all for me.
Thank you. Well, we're going to open the floor right quick for question and answers. So if you have any questions for these fine folks, other than Sky is Blue, who has 1,000 questions. Yes.
For the Great Shaft, right now in Uru, you can link to like one of the alcoves in the Great Shaft. I forgot what they're called. And you start running down, but then you fall because you can't get all the way. Is that still going to be like this? Is the Great Shaft, is Descent its own thing, or is Descent going to replace that?
You want mine?
No, the full Descent is actually going to replace the old one. Basically, I'm trying to merge the various aspects of that particular version plus the Myst 5 version plus the demo version. But eventually this will it won't upset the collectibles. Those are still going to be there. I've actually implemented those. They didn't see them because I didn't go in that room, but they are there. So those should still work the same as. It's just basically going to be an extended version of that old version, which is just the shaft in that one room, the Eder Toman. So, but no, eventually the smaller Descent will be replaced by the bigger one.
That's awesome. That's great.
Yeah.
But it won't replace it won't get rid of the instance of it either.
Yeah.
It's just,
Yeah.
Think of it like a big update to the existing area rather than a total replacement.
Exactly. It's basically just expanding upon what was already there. So, with some common sense changes. For instance, you might if you remember Myst 5's version, there were a bunch of pillars that were in the middle there. I kept those in on the the higher parts of the shaft, but then I took them out just for consistency reasons, since they're not in the Uru version. So it's stuff like that, just kind of marrying the bunch of the details of each version into one solid experience. Basically, that's the key. That's the goal here.
Any other questions? Okay, we'll open it to Sky. Do you have any questions? Are you happy? Okay. I think there's tears I see streaming. Look at that.
No, we're happy to add that for you, Sky. Seriously.
Yeah.
I'm curious about what kind of progress, if any, you age makers have made in terms of creating animals in your ages.
As far as Corman, unfortunately, we are unable at this time because it does not do bone animations yet. Those are, and Depog here will tell you, they are very complicated math in that, right? I mean, did you want to talk about?
I won't bore you with all the details of nested relative bone matrix math, but that's the big stumbling block for things like animals. We can animate objects and have those move around and rotate, but we can't animate different sections of objects to have those move independently. If someone wanted to try to build something like that in 3ds Max, that should be possible with the plugin there. I don't know if anyone has made any attempts to do that, but you could, in theory, build and rig an animal there and do all the animations in Max, and then build the rest of the age in Blender.
I'd also like to say that there's a potential that if you have a simple enough animal like, say, a crab or a bird with just simple wing flapping animation, you might not need bone animations for that. There's Blender's own parented objects to objects and have them animated. The chute dispenser for the maintainer suit in Garrison is a bunch of parented nested objects that are all animating based off of each other. If your animal is simple like that, like say a crab skittering along the ground without very much animation to it, that would require, fluid avatar dynamics. You could potentially get away with something like that in Blender. But other than that, like they said, it's going to require the whole fluid animations that we just can't do with bones at the moment because bones.
So basically, you could do simple animals, but anything that really you want to move naturally, it's going to take Corman or you have to use Max until Corman catches up. So
I think that's about all the time that we have for today.
Yes.
Thank you so much to our panel. We really appreciate having you here. Let's give them another hand.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, everybody. Appreciate you.